Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today, for writing, we are going to try something new. We're going to be doing this writing mini lesson on Edpuzzle, and that's actually where you're going to be showing your thinking as well. During the stopping points for the lesson, I'm going to ask you to check in with people at your table. So you can have a table discussion when you get to a certain part in the read aloud. And please keep the discussion on topic and keep it with people only at your table. Our learning target is I can find evidence to support a given inference by practicing a think aloud with my partner. Now, we're going to revisit making an inference that's finding evidence and combining with our prior knowledge. And we're going to practice this by having a conversation with a partner and then writing it in Edpuzzle. So let's get started by revisiting Thank You, Ma'am by Langston Hughes. When we left off yesterday, the boy had just been taken into Mrs. Jones' house after he tried to steal her purse. So we'll revisit this last paragraph here, and then we'll continue with the story. Sweat popped out on the boy's face, and he began to struggle. Mrs. Jones stopped, jerked him around in front of her, and put a half Nelson about his neck, and continued to drag him up the street. When she got to her door, she dragged the boy inside, down a hall, and into a large kitchenette-furnished room at the rear of the house. She switched on the light and left the door open. The boy could hear other roomers laughing and talking in the large house. Some of their doors were open, too, so he knew he and the woman were not alone. The woman still had him by the neck in the middle of her room. She said, "What is your name?" "Roger," answered the boy. "Then, Roger, you go to that sink and wash your face," said the woman, whereupon she turned him loose at last. Roger looked at the door, looked at the woman, looked at the door, and went to the sink. "Let the water run until it gets warm," she said. "Here's a clean towel." "You going to take me to jail?" asked the boy, bending over the sink. "Not with that face. I would not take you nowhere," said the woman. "Here I am trying to get home to cook me a bite to eat, and you snatch my pocketbook? Maybe you ain't been to your supper either, late as it be. Have you?" "There's nobody home at my house," said the boy. "Then we'll eat," said the woman. "I believe you're hungry, or been hungry, to try to snatch my pocketbook." "I wanted a pair of blue suede shoes," said the boy. "Well, you didn't have to snatch my pocketbook to get some suede shoes," said Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. "You could have asked me." "Ma'am?" Water dripping from his face, the boy looked at her. There was a long pause, a very long pause. After he had dried his face, and not knowing what else to do, dried it again, the boy turned around, wondering what next. The door was open. He could make a dash for it down the hall. He could run, 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 run! The woman was sitting on the daybed. After a while, she said, "I were young once, and I wanted things I could not get." There was another long pause. The boy's mouth opened. Then he frowned, but not knowing he frowned. The woman said, "You thought I was going to say but, didn't you? You thought I was going to say, but I didn't snatch people's pocketbooks. Well, I wasn't going to say that." Pause. Silence. "I have done things too, which I would not tell you, son, neither tell God, if he didn't already know. So you sit down while I fix us something to eat. You might run that comb through your hair so you look presentable." In another corner of the room, behind a screen, was a gas plate and an icebox. Mrs. Jones got up and went behind the screen. The woman did not watch the boy to see if he was going to run now, nor did she watch her purse, which she left behind her on the daybed. But the boy took care to sit on the far side of the room, where he thought she could easily see him out of the corner of her eye, if she wanted to. He did not trust the woman not to trust him, and he did not want to be mistrusted now. So we're going to pause right here. That line that was just inside the green box. The woman Mrs. Jones got up and went behind the screen. The woman did not watch the boy to see if he was going to run now, nor did she watch her purse, which she left behind on the far side of the daybed. So as I read this line, I'm actually starting to make an inference that the woman is changing, because at the beginning of the story, she was really upset with him. She even kicked him in the bottom when he was laying on the ground, and she was really, really unhappy with the things that he had tried to do. But now I'm seeing that she's starting to change because she left her purse out so that he could reach it if he wanted to. And she knew that he could reach it, and he knew that he could reach it. And I think that she's trying to show him that she's not afraid of him anymore. She's not afraid of Roger trying to take her things and running out anymore. And so I think that's the way that she is changing because maybe she's actually trying to teach him a lesson. She's no longer afraid of him. And that's how I noticed that Mrs. Jones has changed. Let's keep on reading. Do you need somebody to go to the store? Asked the boy. Maybe to get some milk or something? Don't believe I do, said the woman. Unless you just want sweet milk yourself, I was going to make cocoa out of this canned milk I got here. That will be fine, said the boy. She heated some lima beans and ham she had in the icebox, made the cocoa, and set the table. The woman did not ask the boy anything about where he lived, or his folks, or anything else that would embarrass him. Instead, as they ate, she told him about her job in a hotel beauty shop that stayed open late, what the work was like, and how all kinds of women came in and out, blondes, redheads, and Spanish. Then she cut him a half of her 10-cent cake. Eat some more, son, she said. When they were finished eating, she got up and said, Now, take this $10 and buy yourself some blue suede shoes. And next time, do not make the mistake of latching onto my pocketbook nor nobody else's. Because shoes come by devilish like that will burn your feet. I gotta get my rest now, but I wish you would behave yourself, son, from here on in. She led him down the hall to the front door and opened it. Good night. Behave yourself, boy, she said, looking out into the street. The boy wanted to say something else other than, Thank you, ma'am, to Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. But he couldn't do so as he turned at the barren stoop and looked back at the large woman in the door. He barely managed to say thank you before she shut the door, and he never saw her again. I really like this story. Once you've listened and once your table has listened, take a second and talk about this question with your team. What can you infer about the boy? Make sure that you use evidence that shows how he's changed. Previously in the text it said, and now he is, or something like that. So talk about this with your team, and then please write a short paragraph that uses evidence on Edpuzzle. The question will pop up here. You don't have to copy the text exactly because I know that you don't have all of the text in front of you, but please write about what you remember to talk about how the boy has changed. Make sure that you use text evidence and also what you know about the way that people act to make a good and strong inference. Good luck, and I'm looking forward to hearing your responses.